You're listening to the Quince podcast.
Can Nitish Kumar retain power? Will the BJP make history for itself in Bihar to become the single largest majority in the state for the first time? Will the Grand Alliance be able to topple the NDA alliance? The counting of votes for Bihar election has been keeping us all on our toes. More than 12 hours into the counting, it's still not crystal clear who is it that Bihar wants at the helm of the government. At the time of the recording of this podcast at about 9 p.m., the Mahagathbandhan seemed to have expanded its lead to 111 seats. On the other hand, the LJP's lead had dramatically fallen to 0. And as far as the NDA is concerned, they had crossed the halfway mark late in the afternoon and more or less kept maintaining its lead over 124 seats. But even as trends flipped and the RJD and the BJP became to be engaged in a neck-and-neck fight with wafer-thin margins between its candidates in some constituencies, the Election Commission informed that the counting would go on till late evening of 10th November. In a usual year, it wouldn't have taken so long to guess who will be taking the final lead. But owing to the pandemic and social distancing measures, the Election Commission had increased the number of polling booths during the elections to avoid overcrowding, which means more EVMs and a longer wait for the results. But what does the current trend tell us about the performance of the parties? As JDU seems to be left behind the RJD and the BJP, what are the possible choices before Nitish Kumar? And in this podcast, we'll hear from psephologist and Swaraj Party leader Yogendra Yadav, former CSDS director Sanjay Kumar, and ex-JDU leader Pawan Verma. You're tuned in to The Big Story, the podcast where we dissect the headline-making news for you. And I'm your host, Shorbury. Just like the US election results, which were delayed due to the pandemic, a lot still remains uncertain about Bihar election results. This was said to be one of the biggest elections to have been conducted in the world under the shadow of the raging pandemic, with over 7 crore eligible voters. And despite the pandemic, the voter turnout was more or less the same as 2015. Now, so far, according to the EC, more than half of the counting has been done, and the results can be expected later tonight. However, the counting in some of the constituencies might even go on till next morning. But let's talk about what we do know for certain. As we record this podcast at about 9 p.m., results were declared for 50 seats, with the BJP winning 16 seats, the RJD 14, the JDU 7, and the INC and CPI-ML winning 3 each, among others. And among the winners are RJD's Tej Pratap and Hindustani Awam Morcha's Jitan Ram Manji. The BJP was leading in 63 seats, while the JDU is ahead in only 33 seats. The RJD has overtaken the BJP to emerge as the single largest party again, with a lead in 77 seats. But it's still too early to tell who will win the people's mandate. Psephologist and Swaraj Party leader Yogendra Yadav says that the only thing we know for certain is that the results are nothing like it was predicted in the opinion or the exit polls. It's neither a BJP sweep, nor is it an RJD sweep.
विश्वास से हम क्या कह सकते हैं? पहला ये कह सकते हैं कि वो चुनाव जो शुरू हुआ था इस विश्वास के साथ कि बीजेपी की झोली में पड़ा है चुनाव, तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है? वो चुनाव बहुत कांटे की टक्कर में बदला है। वो चुनाव जिसके बारे में एग्जिट पोल्स ने भरोसा दिलवा दिया था कि महागठबंधन तो जीता ही हुआ है, कई एग्जिट पोल्स ने कहा था, सबने नहीं, वो उतना एक तरफा नहीं साबित हुआ है और ये मामला कहीं कांटे का साबित हुआ है। ये हम जानते हैं कि कांग्रेस एक बोझ साबित हुई है महागठबंधन के लिए, लेकिन लेफ्ट खासतौर पे माले, लेकिन सीपीआई और सीपीएम भी कुल मिला के महागठबंधन के लिए स्ट्रेंथ साबित हुए हैं। उधर एनडीए अलायंस के अंदर हम जानते हैं कि ये खुद जेडीयू कमजोर साबित हुआ है, बीजेपी मजबूत है। क्षेत्रों की दृष्टि से हम कह सकते हैं कि मगध में, भोजपुर में, वो इलाके जहां लेफ्ट आमतौर पे मजबूत रहा है, वहां लेफ्ट ने भी अच्छा किया है और सारे महागठबंधन ने अच्छा किया है। लेकिन पूर्वांचल का जो इलाका है और एक मायने में उत्तर बिहार का तमाम इलाका, कम से कम पूर्वांचल और मिथिलांचल जो है, उसमें एनडीए ने बहुत बड़ी सफलता हासिल कर रही है, ऐसा स्पष्ट लगता है। ये स्पष्ट है कि एक तरफा झाड़ू नहीं लगने वाली। हम ये अभी भी नहीं जानते कि सरकार किसकी बनेगी, इसके बारे में अभी भी हमें खुलापन रखना चाहिए। लेकिन कोई अगर मुझे मोटा सवाल पूछे तो मैं कहूंगा परिणाम तो मिल रहा है, लेकिन जनादेश क्या है ये पता नहीं लगा।
Now, while the RJD, led by the young leader Tejashwi Yadav, seems to be giving a tough fight not only to the JDU but even the BJP, as Mr. Yadav says, it's the Congress that's looking like the weak link in the Mahagathbandhan. The party contested in 70 seats, which is the most number of seats in the opposition alliance after the RJD. But at 9 pm, it was leading in only 18 seats, which means its strike rate is worse than the other Mahagathbandhan parties. On the other hand, you look at the CPIML, which has maintained its impressive performance throughout the day, taking a lead in 12 out of the 19 seats that it contested in. Former CSTS Director Sanjay Kumar says that while there's not been too many discussions on how the CPIML's vote could possibly advantage the Mahagathbandhan in Bihar, on the other hand, he says it had already been anticipated that the Congress would possibly pose as a liability.
जिस वक्त गठबंधन बन रहा था और सीटों का बंटवारा हो रहा था, अंदेशा कभी भी लोगों के मन में ये नहीं था कि लेफ्ट पार्टियां कैसा करेंगी। ये अंदेशा जरूर था मन में कि लेफ्ट पार्टियों का वोट तो ज्यादा है नहीं, लेकिन लेफ्ट पार्टियां अपना वोट ट्रांसफर कर पाएंगी या नहीं कर पाएंगी। सबको इस बात का पता था कि लेफ्ट पार्टी के समर्थक बड़े एक तरह से सॉलिड वोट बैंक है, तो वो अपना वोट ट्रांसफर करेंगे। लेफ्ट पार्टियां कितना अच्छा कर पाएंगे, उनको कितना ट्रांसफर होगा जेडीयू आरजेडी की तरफ से, इस पे जरूर कुछ दुविधा रही होगी मन में। लेकिन जिस तरह से लेफ्ट पार्टी का प्रदर्शन दिख रहा है, उससे ये स्पष्ट दिखाई पड़ता है कि उनका वोट भले ही अलग अलग इलाकों में बिखरा हुआ नहीं है, उनका बिखराव उस सेंस में नहीं उतना नहीं है, लेकिन जिन इलाकों में उनका वोट है वो वोट अभी भी बरकरार है और जिस तरह से बढ़त उन्होंने बनाई हुई है। लेकिन कांग्रेस की अगर हम बात करें, जिसके बारे में चर्चा शुरू से हो रही थी, इस बात की चर्चा हमेशा रही कि शायद इस गठबंधन में अगर कोई मेल नहीं है तो वो कांग्रेस को 70 सीटों पर चुनाव लड़ने के लिए टिकट देना, क्योंकि कांग्रेस के पास शायद इतना बड़ा जनाधार नहीं है। अगर ये जो शुरुआती रुझान जो दिखाई पड़ रहे हैं, इसके हिसाब से तो यही लगता है कि अगर कांग्रेस उस तरह का समर्थन नहीं कर पाई गठबंधन को जिस तरह से कांग्रेस को करना चाहिए था, या जिस तरह की अपेक्षा थी अगर गठबंधन को इससे बेहतर प्रदर्शन करना।
And talking about the performance of the smaller parties, even AIMIM seems to be making a pretty impressive comeback this year, particularly in the Simanchal region. In 2015, which was its first foray into Bihar, it had lost in all but one seat. But so far, it's won 2 seats and is leading in 2. Although the numbers are not final, Nitish Kumar's anti-incumbency is clearly showing. The BJP, which is the junior NDA ally, has emerged to have an upper hand over the JDU, leaving Nitish Kumar in an awkward position. Even though the BJP's poll promise was to make Nitish the chief minister, the equations between the BJP and the JDU are likely to change owing to the JDU's poor performance. So what are the choices for Mr. Kumar now? Ex-JDU leader Pawan Verma says that it was quite clear that the BJP would eventually like to take the front seat in this alliance. But Mr. Kumar's options in this election are limited.
The moment in 2017 he joined the BJP, the writing on the wall became clear that ultimately the BJP would like in due course to replace him by their own chief minister. That they would achieve this goal with such remarkable success in this election itself, purely on the basis of the number of seats each side has got, is something quite worthy of admiration. But now what Nitish Kumar does in this situation, I cannot speak for him, although I have worked very closely with him. It's a choice he has to make. His options are limited. Obviously, he cannot join the RJD where he will have to play second fiddle to Tejaswi. Nor can he become leader of opposition because he is the third largest party. So what are the choices before him? But he is also aware that it's only a matter of time where his continuation of chief minister will be made very difficult by people within the BJP itself, especially in Bihar.
Absolutely.
So now he is faced with this dilemma, but this dilemma was staring him in the face when he did a sudden volte-face and joined the BJP again in 2017.
Speaking of the befuddling equation that shaped up between the LJP and the BJP head of the polls, Mr. Verma also says that Nitish Kumar is likely to have known what exactly was the end goal of that move. He's likely to have known how the LJP would impact the JDU's votes. But the question right now, Mr. Verma says, is how is it that Nitish Kumar wants to keep the chief ministerial seat?
It's very difficult to second guess Mr. Nitish Kumar. You can only draw some inferences from the situation. The situation, in my view, is that Mr. Nitish Kumar is aware of exactly the game being played out against him. What was Chirag Paswan's role, on whose BS, what damage it did to him, and what was the ultimate goal behind this move. Now, whether he accepts as the smaller party to retain the chief minister, BJP will be more than generous in offering it to him. That is exactly what they want. If, for instance, his goal is to reduce Mr. Nitish Kumar to Bihar when he had the potential for a national role, and in Bihar to become a dependent on the BJP for survival, then he can accept the chief ministership, but he will, in my view, he will in that situation face a humiliation sooner rather than later. It's the nature of things. The BJP is an ambitious, expansionist party, and they feel that perhaps they already feel that if instead of giving them to JDU, we had fought on some of these seats, we would have won a majority on our own. So I'm saying that all of these things will come up. Similarly, the RJD must be feeling why it gave 70 seats to the Congress.
But since we're analyzing the party's performances, it's also important to ask what is it that the voters want. The answer to that question is anything but clear. From what we can gather, there's no clear majority yet. The voters seem to have neither voted for change nor in favor of the incumbent government. Rather, what we're seeing is fractional support for different parties. Mr. Sanjay Kumar says that perhaps this explains why there's a necessity of alliances in Indian politics.
बिल्कुल आपने ठीक कहा, ना तो ये साफ साफ परिवर्तन का वोट दिखाई पड़ता है और ना ही ये कंटिन्यूटी के लिए वोट दिखाई पड़ता है. लेकिन जिस तरह से वोटों का बंटवारा हुआ है दोनों गठबंधनों के बीच और जिस तरह से एक तरह से पूरा माहौल बना रहा चुनाव के समय, मुझे लगता है ये इस बात का सूचक है कि बिहार के मतदाता किस तरह से अलग अलग पार्टियों के समर्थन में एकदम खड़े हुए दिखाई पड़ते हैं. जिस बात का जिक्र योगेंद्र जी ने पहले किया, मैं इस बात को पिछले कई महीनों से देखता रहा हूं और इस पर लिखा भी कि क्यों बिहार की राजनीति में गठबंधन की आवश्यकता पड़ रही है. किसी भी पार्टी के 25% वोट से ऊपर जाना अपने दम पर असंभव है. तो ये जो फ्रैक्चर्ड मैंडेट है जिसमें ये दो बड़े बड़े गठबंधन अपने दम पर बहुमत नहीं ला पा रहे हैं, तो इस वर्डिक्ट से मुझे यही दिखाई पड़ता है कि आज भी बिहार का मतदाता एक तरह से अलग अलग पार्टियों का लॉयल सपोर्टर बना हुआ है और इसमें फिर जाति की भूमिका अहम हो जाती है.
As the numbers keep emerging, stay tuned to the Quint for all updates on Bihar elections. If you like listening to this episode, please subscribe to the Big Story playlist for episodic updates. We're live on Apple, Google Podcast, Spotify, JioSaavn, and most of the other popular podcast streaming platforms. For other podcasts, please log on to the Quint website and check out the podcast section. For any feedback, shoot an email to podcasts@thequint.com.
Thanks for listening. Log on to the Quint's website and check out our other podcasts.